So you're on the scene of the Passover, and you're looking to your left and your right. You're seeing all the disciples. You're seeing Jesus. You're seeing the wine. You're seeing the bread. You're seeing the communion take place. You're seeing him give the bread to Judas. And you're wondering, is it me? Is it me? You might have had a chance at liberty, or a chance to really stand up for yourself, and you might have turned tail and ran. You might have held back. You might have forewent glory, just being intimidated, presuming that you're guilty by association. And so you're looking at the man in the center of the table, and you say, Jesus, what's going on here? You realize very shortly that it's not Jesus. You realize that instead it's the archangel Samael. And you see the image of a Galilean metamorph right in front of your eyes. From garments of maybe sackcloth and burlap to a triple black sheen overcoat with yellow light beaming from it. Samael stands before you. And as your vision is narrowed against its own will to focus on him, the disciples, the Passover room, it all starts to vanish away and materialize like fine static on an old television screen. Starts to fade away like wisp of fog at sunrise. And now you're faced with a new communion. You say, how? Jesus isn't here. How is this a communion? The disciples aren't here. What happened to the bread? What happened to the wine? Why has this been swapped out for a gold goblet with iron lettering on it? What does that iron lettering on the gold chalice say? It says, think for yourself. But it's written in the language that you don't understand. But this is what it translates to. Think for yourself. You don't know what to say. You're speechless before this entity that you were brought up to believe was a demon connected to the fall, being the very personification of evil itself. According to some interpretations, you are face to face with him. And you're looking at this gold goblet with iron lettering on it like, man, what's in there? What's in there? Samael does not respond. Like, man, what's in there? He extends the chalice. You figure, hey, look, I gotta take it. I gotta take it. Why? Because I'm in a situation, in a scene where everything else is faded away. I'm suspended between realities. If I don't take this, what else is there? There's only me now and Samael standing in deep space. We're standing in the shunya, but still in form. Only he and I. This is what the world has been catapulted into, going throughout 2022 and 2023, going into 2024 and beyond. Your hand is trembling, like, I don't know. You put it to your lips, The gold chalice is sparkling. Why? Because you're in the place of triple darkness. There's no reason for it to sparkle, but it sparkles. It's enticing. You start hearing voices. The closer to your lips this chalice gets, you start to hear mutterings, bits of rapturous prophecy start to slip into the periphery of your auditory experience. And without moving his lips, he tells you, in response to your question of, what is this? He tells you this. 3 simple words. It is the truth. You're saying, all right, it's the truth, it's the truth, it's the truth. What kind of hallucinogenic type of tea is this getting ready to be? What is this? You know, is he gonna poison me? They called him the poisoner. You know, is this hemlock? Look, I ain't got no choice. I don't think I can beat it. He's as tall as a stack of planets. I don't think I can beat him. So I might as well give in. Ice cold gold touches your lips. And the sweetest, coolest, yet most delightfully warm and smooth and strongest sip that you have ever taken in your life. For some reason, whatever you imagine this drink to be at its best is ultimately what this drink is. If you imagine it to taste this particular way, that's how it tastes. If your last favorite beverage tastes this particular way, this is how it tastes. Whatever way your palate goes is the exact taste of your first sip from Samael's chalice. A liquid that is only referred to as the truth. As the truth. The moment it goes down, your life flashes before your eyes. So you assume death must be imminent. It must be. My life is flashing before my eyes. To your pleasant surprise, you're still alive. No physical changes take place in the body. The anticipation of what it might be is already enough to trigger you into some sensations physically. But it's all being generated out of your mind based on what you're expecting this drink's, poison's, venom's effect to have on you. Yet you can't be harmed, and yet you cannot die. It's just you and Samael, who is the bridge of the new world. Jesus was there to remind you that this wine, at this table with these disciples, this wine is the wine of sacrifice. This wine represents blood that's being shed for both the guilty and the innocent. Now we are in a new age where such a sacrifice is probably not necessary. And we can venture on further to say, not necessary. If you go to according to the cosmology of Jesus being the one and only perfect sacrifice, there's no need to sacrifice then on that scale. There's no need to be a martyr. What this drink does in its communion is technically the exact reversal, the exact antithetical output of the Passover, of the Last Supper. So now the Last Supper becomes the first dinner. I said the Last Supper becomes the first dinner. If you recall the very opening of the book of Genesis, after God spoke light and separated it from darkness, the first day was counted beginning with night. Especially in the King James translation, it says night came and then morning. That was the first day. First evening came, then morning. That was the first day. Started off at night. Under the dispensation that Jesus was instrumental during, it ended with the wine. Now that wine has been swapped out to begin with a chalice of venom. And what this venom does, if you don't know already, is it poisons you against the illusions that have been placed over you. What is the word we're looking for here? Disenchantment. What's another phrase? To be woken up. To have your eyes opened. To have the veil torn away. This is what's going on when you partake of Samael's venom. You can't see his face because the brightness of the light doesn't allow you to pick up on any physical, minute characteristics, attributes. But you know it's him because your soul says so. Samael is betrothed to the one Lilith. Lilith, according to Left Hand Path, is the framework of the demiurge itself and the personification of it vis-a-vis Loth, or the Spider Queen. In this, you have the framework from Samael, this perfect marriage of a world garnered and steeped in illusion. You now have access to the main framework and the main architect. So you now have two halves to the whole of what was considered under the last dispensation to be an unholy marriage. It's considered blasphemous to the first, or we should say to the previous demiurge under Jehovah and under the laws of Yah. There were certain statutes put in place and tons of commands and codes that to this day still work. But there's a freedom now that I don't think we understood as it pertains to the non-religious, whom the scriptures designated under the title Gentiles. What the sacrifice on the cross represented was access to all people without the consideration of a preferential line. Anytime you deal with preferential lines and bloodlines and families, you usually get feuds, hence the show Family Feud. Because anytime you want to take your family, a lot of times on that main stage like that, in terms of marketability and presence and rulership of any kind, there's going to be feuds from within and feuds from without. The reality of that is in that chalice, is in that first swig. Now, granted, as soon as you take that first swig, the sweetness of being wiser than you ever were before keeps you hooked. Yet the bite behind the drink, which represents things in your life you wish you probably never knew, can be enough to intoxicate you. You become so disillusioned. Disillusioned was the better word. Disenchanted too, but disillusioned, I think, may have been a better word, a better D word. Disillusion versus disenchantment, because it's dealing with the breaking down of the illusion. So with the skeleton of this thing being exposed now, you see the bare bones of what's hiding behind the reality. And it brings us right back to what I try to talk about every video of this nature. Law of attraction. We realize what was called reality before was a construct, a belief system, a way of life, a way of existence that was put in place and set up in advance. And so a newer reality came to be pretty much quarterbacked by older characters. A new way is pretty much being quarterbacked by older characters. When we talk about dark energy, you only hear of the one side of it, where you hear about heinous acts in the name of ritual being spoken of far and wide. And so Samael and Lilith's name gets thrown into that, along with everything else in the clip-off, along with all of the rest of the 72 goetic demons, along with whatever other entities are out there. They just get thrown all under the mix, under the old demiurge. But a lot of them, even after their fall, even after being cast off, it didn't mean that they were chained in hell or trapped or prevented from crossing over into the realm, but actually they were prepared for a season and a time. So you're thinking of a storybook franchise that ends with all the bad guys getting wiped out. The bad guys are gone. We in a new age. It's a new day. There's no more devil. There's no more Satan. There's no more Lucifer yet. A lot of those archetypes did take a backstage with the fall of stardom, and with stardom looking the way it looks, needing a complete overhaul. You don't really have the same assignment from Lucifer. His role is more muted now. And the one whose role was previously muted, that being Samael, is now in the forefront. So now admission into being authenticated into this new age is solely incumbent upon your ability to see through the illusions. That's your prerequisite. Can you think critically? Can you think for yourself? Because if you choose not to, this invitation will be rejected. You won't take the gold chalice with the iron lettering. And you're wondering why these people's lives seem to get better after they walked away from what you call the faith. Oh, it seemed like this person, they doing well. Well, they need to remember who they got it from. They do remember who they got it from. What you're not ready to accept yet, because you haven't taken the swig from the chalice, is that the source of that person's blessings did not come from the building that you guys congregated in every Sunday. That's not where the blessings came from. It sounds very simple to say, well, yeah, obviously the blessings didn't come from the building. Yeah, obviously. Yet, dogma will cause you to ignore that very simple reality and structure your entire life based on that illusion. You need to take a drink. You need to take a drink if you still think people are all good. Yeah, you got to take a drink of Samael's venom, which is really a serum. If you think everybody in this world is evil, you need to take a sip. You need to take a swig. You need to take a gulp. You need to chug it down. Neither one of those things are true. So that opens the floor, again, for law of attraction. Because if it's not set in stone, if reality is fluid based on the internal state of the individual, then that means with everything being in flux, your opportunity to create is never off the table. Welcome to the venom of Samael, and I see that this is the character that I portray according to the social media YouTube code. That's who I am. Based on my assignment, I was thinking other things like, okay, this might be like a Jesus kind of work that I do online. This might be like a, disciple John, Apostle Paul. This might be like some Moses type of stuff. Is what I was just thinking regularly. But after deep meditation, I seen that based on the motives behind my approach and the magnitude of my ambassadorship for the all, for source, I read like an archangel. I read as Samael, who is married, betrothed to the rejected demiurge of the previous age. So the appeal that I'm seeing between me and others is that I'm making knowledge very, very different. I'm putting a very different spin on a lot of information. And what this does is it creates enticement. Because no matter who you are, everyone likes new. Doesn't matter if new is expensive or free. Everyone likes new. And one of the last phrases that the Bible leaves off with in red print, which is designated for Jesus speaking, he says, behold, which means to look. I am making all things new. Everybody likes new. Everybody. New chances, a new day, a new life, a new job, a new salary, new relationships, new food, new places to travel, new clothes, new shows to watch, new movies to go see, and the likes. If you're willing, if you're not afraid to wake up for real, if you're not afraid of the possibility that you may have to discard most of what you believed to be true in your entire life. That means what you were brought up to believe by your folks. I know you love your folks. I know you were under the authority of your folks. I know you want to honor your mother and your father so that your days can be long. I understand that. I understand that. However, now that the torch has been passed to you, you're going to be the one who decides where that light shines now. If they have the generation before you, if they have given you the torch and are still trying to direct and control your life, then they haven't passed the torch. They're basically walking behind you, trying to give you light. Walking behind you, trying to give you light. Say that one more time so you can get the imagery, because I know a lot of you are thinking Plato's cave, and you're supposed to. That's the power of this demiurge. They're walking with the light, but they're behind you. So even though there's enough light in the cave, your way is still obscured by the casting of shadow. Waking up to the reality of what Samael and Lilith means to this new way and this new time that we're in is going to show itself in how you express your power. When it comes to the smitten, you know, we can often be dealing with smite and spite. Just to spite us, people are doing, say things, intending to hurt us. But depending on where we are in life, it may not even matter. And it'll make them look even lower. It'll make them look even worse. For one, it's a crabs in a mentality because they're feeling down. They want to pull you down. What does this tell you? If they want to pull you down, they're already beneath you. If they want to pull you down, they're already beneath you. For a person at the top who's above you to try and push you down, it still means they have to sink too. So if a person is trying to put you down, just know they're really trying to pull you down, because they're already coming from a lower vibration anyway of trying to deject a person and attempting to lower somebody's vibration to mess up their mood intentionally. Even if that wasn't the intent at first, but then they can try to flip everything in life to represent ammunition for them. All of this falls on the reverse side of that scripture that says, blessed are they with whom the Lord does not keep score. See, if you're keeping score with people, karma itself, what you call the Lord, it's going to keep score with you. And really, it's just you attracting the keeping score of your life because you keep a score on others in a bad way. Saying you're going to win, so you want others to lose. Well, what about everybody winning? What about if anybody loses, everybody loses? What about that kind of mentality where you want to pick people up? Because now, if you are trying to pick people up, that's coming from an above state. Doesn't mean that you're above the person you're trying to lift up, you understand? But to lift up, to raise someone up, elevates both you and the person. And if they need a stronger lift, you'd even be willing to decrease in elevation just to get low enough to push them up, to lift them up. So even the sacrifices of position, popularity, fame, a dream chase, just to boost somebody else's confidence is an above concept. Spite, however, there is another layer to it. There's another layer to spite. You take the E off and you get spit. So a person who's acting out of spite, they're really trying to spit. One of the most disrespectful displays of disrespect, period, is to spit. Another term for spit, slang colloquialism, is to run game. When you really communicating with that mastery, at that point, you begin to spit. The words are flowing, you spitting. But to have spite, you're trying to spit on somebody because you can't because you can't spit to them. You have nothing to spit at them. So you want to spit on them. You want to spit on them because you have nothing to spit at them. All of this deals with the E being left off of spite when you're acting in spite. The E connected to the speed of light, I believe. E equals MC squared. Yeah, E. Taking the E off. E is a very important part. I think the M is mass. The C, yeah, don't quote me on that, but, you know, I think it's like constant or something. But you get the point. I believe the E is for energy. Having the right energy about you, the right vibe, the right energy, the right spirit. His energy is wrong. There's a lot of spite there because they're spitting on people. Or, oh, this person has no spite in their heart. Listen to how effortlessly they can just spit. Listen to how they spit it. You can tell there ain't no spite there because listen to them. But then you get also, look at them trying to spit on everybody, just hating on everybody because they ain't got nothing to say. Trying to spit on people because they have nothing to spit at people. Nothing to spit to people. Nothing to spit for people. So they want to spit on people. The rules of spite. Super T Sigma, Sigma programming. Stay illuminated. Peace.